I want to also talk about, or let's take an example of Costco. Now, Costco in US is known for its policy that you can return any product after any number of days or weeks or months with no questions asked return policy, which is great customer experience. Probably they have figured out a way of how to get the ROI of all this, but and they've also disrupted the industry, I feel, for others as well, that now everybody is expecting that. But having said that, there's a cost attached to good CX. When we talk about good CX, talk about satisfaction, effectiveness, all those things, but then there's a cost attached to it. So how do brands focus on that? Because I think it's not a question of giving a good experience or not. It's more about, yes, execution for sure, but also the math behind it.
No, no, absolutely right. It's a very important part in terms of when you ask about like the cost. I may have a very like what do you say the opinion which I don't know how many will agree here, right? The point of view which I have around the cost is like, see, at the end of the day we are talking about customer experience. Customer experience is at the heart of like any business because customer is at the heart of any business, right? So customer experience is the ligament which connects a brand to a customer, right?
But is that
So
a fair assumption to make, or that's
that
it's an
it is right, because at the end of the day, yes, there is a cost involved in it, right? But the lens I would look at it is not just cost. The lens I would look at it is like the ROI arrived at the cost that is being incurred, right? So yes, for getting something such an important element like a customer experience, there has to be an investment. There's like no pain, no gain, right? There has to be investment to gain some value out of it. But having said that, what is important as a practitioner or a strategist to look at is, hey, I am spending this much. How well I am actually delivering it, right? And more importantly, like how like often I'm checking and measuring them, so that there is always a like positive ROI around it. So it's not about the I, but also an ROI that is like also an important play in my view.
but brands need to have that long-term view then.
Absolutely.
Not look at short-term like order conversion or some of the other
No,
metrics.
not at all. Not at all,
Probably look
right?
at customer lifetime value over years.
Exactly. And exactly because customer life, like you come to that actual measurement point, right? Because to my point earlier, when we talk about like a cost, always pair it up with the ROI. And how do I go about doing that? I need to have a solid measures or OKRs to guide me get there. And and you rightly mentioned, customer lifetime value is one of the key quantitative metric that needs to be looked at. And you are bang on in terms of it is not a tactical metric.
It's not
And,
right.
and it's not an easy metric to calculate either, right? It is a long-term metric that needs to be had. But at the same time, that is one of the key drivers for us to keep looking at how can I continue to keep improving it. And it's okay, I invest as long as I'm able to like improve my metrics. And again, going back to some of the things that we spoke about, it's not about the quantitative metrics like the customer lifetime value or customer churn or like customer retention and so on and so forth, but also the qualitative like nature of some of the metrics like the CSATs and NPSs, right? So both these things should go hand in
Hand in
hand, and like we need to look at it holistically and see whether am I doing the right investment, and then like take that call. But to your point, yes, that can be like a fact that okay, as an organization, let's say, right, I am not still mature to even have a good view of customer data. But let me go and do some personalization. You are not going to get the right return out of it, because not just because everybody thinks, hey, I'm personalization is great, but if you don't have the right ecosystem in place and start like spending or investing in doing things, but that's not going to yield the right value. So definitely we need to look at it holistically.